come here, bubblegum, and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Studios, where I am ensconced within the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Studios, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California of the locus of evil on the entire West Coast, nay, possibly the nation. And that would be the Capitol building at 10th and L downtown, the capital of Sacramento, California, where at night screams of common sense dying at 10th and L Street. 19, I am BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin. And Kelly, bartendress tonight, she pours with the best of them, and the lava lamp is in fact lighted to my left, indicating that you can listen and the show at the SHR Media, at shrmedia.com. You can enter into the chat room specifically right now. Welcome to Mike and Mary in chat. And also, brand merch time tonight. I'm simulcasting, courtesy of Big on the Redcon 1 Media Network. So we're broadcasting, we're simulcasting on Redcon 1, our media network. You can go to the SHR Media Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Redcon 1 on Facebook right now. Theoretically, if I haven't screwed up these things that are over here, I've got 6 screens. Look at this. And that's, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water a conversation. Politics, we talk about it all right here at the Saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but of course the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress. Now, tonight, because it's different, out here on the left coast, I'm starting at 8 o'clock. I got two clocking at. So this one over here says 8:05 on the left coast, and the one over there that I've got set to the east coast means it's 11:05 right now. And most of the people, you're on the east coast. I don't think too many people listen to Big Sarge or some of the other linked shows. I don't think some of those folks, most of you folks, if you're listening, thank God. If you are, thank you very much. Appreciated. Watch and listen to Redcon 1, Big Sarge. You're East Coast folks. So this for you. Welcome, welcome. It's going to be interesting. We do things here. For the first hour, generally, I try to have a guest. And I do happen to have a guest tonight. It's going to be Jeff Dunitz. He has his very own blog, lidblog.com. I'm going to introduce you to Jeff. He'll give you some background and see off. And then in the second hour, because this is a 2-hour show, I generally go into, what I like to do is there's a lot of stuff that you don't hear about as a conservative, term the American media maggots, because that's what they are. Good stuff out there that's going on, and my job is to bring the news and this that you don't hear because in the BZ world, the LDAM are leftists, Demorats, what I call because that's what they are, Demorats. Leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots, the LDAM. And they are all linked in together. And they are all working against President Trump. Well, if you extrapolate the logic out of that, what that means is they're fucking working against you. Late-night radio show. And the answer is, and around the world, and around the rest of the nation, that the American media maggots are purposely not telling you about because they don't want Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, to succeed in any way whatsoever. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death in occupied California, my goal, of course, is to move will be any different. People of wife does the same thing, and she becomes retired as well, but she's working here. And I don't have $1 billion to be able to pull up and move to, I don't know, some other state. Oh, a red state that is completely, it means nothing to the Americans and to the leftists and the Democrats. Flyover states. Oddly enough, those are the states that I value. In any event, during the second hour, I tried happy stories and other stories. Straka on a couple of times. Brandon Straka is making noise, folks, like he wants to go against AOC in New York. And I kind of like that. That sounds pretty cool. Calling Jeff Dunitz right now. Let's see if Jeff is going to answer. And then...
Hello. He wants to go against Berserk.
Oh.
And I'm thinking to myself, Self? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're going to have down because I was getting some repetition.
Yeah, I had the show on, so I turned it off.
Okay. All right, good. I still hear stuff in the background.
News. Let me turn it down.
Sure. Hey, folks, the nice thing about this is kind of stuff that you hear on regular radio shows, too, as well. So the folks are always saying, caller, would you turn things down in the back, please? Really appreciate it. And again, a shout-out, once more, TreadCon1. I appreciate ever so kindly his allowing me to be on his net.
Wait, if this is going to be like regular, do I have to say, hey, first time, long time?
No, hey, long-time listener. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. No, you don't have to do that. But here's what I would like tonight, Jeff, is the folks that have been listening pretty much consistently to the Saloon, you're being on late at night because now it's 11:11 at night, and you're on the East Coast. You're up in the Northeast. And so I appreciate that.
Actually, I'm in Washington, D.C. right now.
Oh, that's right. You're getting ready to go to the media, folks. They don't know who you are. So if you would, could you give a little bit of a recap as who you are, when you say your background, your reference with Breitbart, your blogging, that sort of thing, to let folks know what you do.
I started Breitbart when Andrew was alive. I think in 2010 and 2011, I wrote over 200 articles that yearned for them. I've also written for PJ.
Okay.
I've written for Newsbusters, and I decided to go on my own.
Cool.
And I started out. It was originally called Yid with Lid, living in New York State. There are three of us.
Yes.
I don't know who the other two of us.
I was going to say, good luck with that one.
Right. And then I went on to, because it's fun being
message to get through, and you've got a viewpoint and insight in the North there, specifically New York, that I just don't have. Period. End of statement.
You have. You certainly do have.
Well, listen, if I've got you, I've got that insight. So that's why I like to have you on the show.
Well, but when I just listened to you, Shane, now, I am going to be doing 4 hours of radio during CPAC, 2 hours on Thursday and 2 Friday.
Okay.
And because I'm so close to Virginia, I have black headphones. So I'm not doing the whole blackface thing, but I'm doing the black ear thing.
Well, that makes perfect sense because look at this. If it worked for Governor Northam, beloved by the Democrats, that despite his blackface, they still haven't kicked his butt to the... That's like a success story then.
Well, I got something else going for me, too.
Oh.
You know how they Make America Great hat is biased and even anti-Semitic?
Okay.
I'm wearing a Make America Great yarmulke.
Well, it must be red then, right?
And it says "Make America Great" in white. So I'm being an anti-Semite by wearing a yarmulke.
Okay, so the deal is if you're wearing one of those yarmulkes, be like either really really tall or you need to be bending down so they can read the top of it.
Well, there's the other thing. They have Okay.
Oh,
but
so
the problem.
Okay, so you can put a banner down the side.
Problem is they have clips, but I don't have anything for the clips to clip onto.
Well, sure you do. You listen. If there's somebody that I know thatch of hair much more than it's you.
No, I end up using two-sided tape.
Hell, that'll work too. Gaffer's tape. Gaffer's tape is great because when you pull it off, it doesn't.
The mounting tape, and you know what else? You keep the clip on. You know why?
Why?
Because people look at you and go, "What is this attached to?"
Folks, we're listening to Jeff, lidblog.com. Let me repeat that for those of you who just tuned in, lid.com. I've been blogging since 2004 at bloviatingzeppelin.net. I think you have, don't you? You started a little earlier?
I started in January 2000.
Okay.
You started before me, but it's like we hooked up as friends, like from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was the crazy part.
All the way back to 2005. Do you remember the whatever the heck it was, the ecosystem that said, you're a paramecium or something like that with the number of hits that you get? Right off the bat, the one thing that impressed me about you, there's like godlike being, and then you were right up there with Ab God. I think that's what it was. You were like the two people that had chiseled Ab God at the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes. That's what I was impressed by. I understand why you didn't get any comments, but I kept looking at the numbers that you had, and I thought, my God, it's an assload of hits.
Well, I used to get the hits when we do carnivals.
Carnivals?
Yeah.
No?
When like Jewish-oriented blogs would do carnivals where, we do like the people's posts in one post. We're about to upcoming president. Like pro-life. And the sick thing is when I worked for the MCR, the news group that does also Newsbusters, I was the one who would find and do all the abortion stories.
Hour here that I want to talk to you about. GettingZeppelin.net. And I post a post today. Well, I've been pretty delinquent in that. But, hey, listen, you are one active dude because I see that you'll post 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. You are.
Well, yeah, but I'm primarily a blogger who does radio also.
Yes. Oh,
You're
yeah.
a radio host that does blogging also.
Okay. Well, all right. Good. Thank you very much. This is a perfect time for me to say, Jeff, can you tell everybody you can be found on social media and then tell people where you can be heard on your radio show?
Well, on Twitter, I'm at Yid with Lid. And on radio, SHR Radio Network, I will be heard on Thursday and Friday from CPAC from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
All righty.
The good guests. The proprietor of Climate Depot, and and it's perfect time to have him on so we can explain this green plan, which they're saying now will cost $74 trillion.
Listen, Jeff, why are you making
that
such
could be real money?
That's not. It now turns out if you distill the numbers down, that's only $600 per person in the United States of America. Come on, that's chump change. Who doesn't have $600,000 hanging around in their back pocket? Really?
Well, yeah, but then there's Kamala Harris who wants slave reparations.
Oh well.
On top of that,
come on, that's a drop in the bucket.
Well, my folks were in Russia, running away from the Cossacks at the time. So maybe the same people can give reparations to my family.
On, your family, who they were, et cetera, et cetera. My folks in the background fought in the Civil War, and I can trace them back and fought for the blue. So if anyone thinks that the Beasy family... no, that's not going to happen. Here's the other thing that I find uniquely interesting about when The United States collects taxes, and you write a check, or it gets taken out of your paycheck automatically.
Right.
There isn't a big room. I have to be pretty big. There isn't a big room somewhere in D.C. that has a huge door. Reparations will also make sure that black Americans are paying as well. That's kind of screwed up.
Well, what's really screwed up? These Democratic members from Jersey work.
Oh God, that is the most specious, stupid argument.
I said to him, first of all, I mean, do they do remediation in congressman school?
Oh God!
Anytime you get a refund, it means that you gave the federal government an interest-free loan.
Yeah, it's too much money that you gave them. Made interest on your cash. That means that you didn't pay as much taxes.
They did the withholding tables. It's a lot closer to what you're actually shooting. So you put that on the table. That it's got to be a mortal sin that your own money.
Yeah. Well, with the government, it is. Remember what a tax cut is? Let's go back to government. Let's go back to Government 101. Government 101 is it's a cut in the more in your budget than last time. In other words, in a fiscal year, if you get dollars in your cabinet, for example, and the next fiscal year you only get same as far as the government and politicians are concerned, that's a cut. That's a budget cut. Because if you don't get more, that's a cut. That's how it works in D.C. Talking to Jeff Dunitz right now. You can find him at Lid Blog Emergency Declaration, and it's setting up a kind of a veto showdown, if you will. Or do you see this going in the Jeff Dunitz crystal ball?
Teasing me up. You know, when you get to the corner and there's like the button you can push, the green to red light so you can cross.
Right.
None of those actually work. The light's there just to make you feel good that you're doing. Don't have a veto-proof majority. They're going to take it to the Ninth Circuit's going to say it's unconstitutional.
Right.
And then they're going to take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to say it's constitutional. Like it. They could have changed the law.
Area, one line item budget area to another line item budget area. It's not about, and they want to make it all about the topic as to where this cash is going, but that is
absolutely immaterial.
The point is, does the president have the constitutional ability to say, move an amount of cash from this budget and place it over into another budget? That's the bottom.
Court can do to stop
Hussein Obama.
But no one actually took it to court. And the thing is that someone could say, you know, the Senate isn't allowed to turn over its powers that much to the president. And the Supreme Court could say, you know what, you're right.
Here's an interesting point, and I have a couple of audio cuts to play when we get back. But an interesting point is this, and that's one of the reasons that the folks that are at Redcon One Media right now, and I thank again Big Sarge for allowing me to broadcast on his network, that I want to introduce to folks over at Redcon One Media. One of them is Dr. Michael Jones, who is his con law, and I just spoke to him before the show, and he's going to be here Thursday night, and be the individual that will be able to say definitively one way or the other, yay or nay. I'm an nation that's been enabled any number of times. Is this a constitutional thing? And I believe that he'll have the answer on that.
I could argue that it isn't.
I admit that it isn't. I agree with you there.
Because, and I'll tell you something who's going to argue that it isn't. The brand new Supreme Court Justice.
Oh, Kavanaugh.
Because he's written saying, separation of powers. You can't give powers willingly to another branch of government.
But I believe the bottom line is, what you're getting out of Trump are a number of clarifications, and you'll get these in the future in D.C. Now, what I mean by that is, yes, emergency powers have been declared by previous presidents, including Barack. But if it fails constitutionally, It's going to injure Donald Trump. Well, okay, if that's what you call an injury, it's also going to injure whatever the next president is, and the next president applies across the board.
Yeah, but the thing that worries me is that possibility that someday there's a Democratic president who says, okay, regulating guns is a national emergency.
Well, yeah, that's true. But this will have to the Supreme Court way before there. Folks, we're listening to Jeff Dunetz. I'm going to have to take a break at the bottom of the hour and the top of the hour for about 5 minutes, a few promos and whatnot. One Jeff Dunetz at lidblog.com. Back, I'm going to ask Jeff about a bill that was going to provide medical infants who survive failed abortions. And then there's a whole host of things that are in his neck of the woods up in the Northeast, specifically in New York State and New York, that I'm going to ask him about. Work and also live on the SHR Media Network. Give us about 5, and we'll be right back with Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. Don't go anywhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I am here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Dunetz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her house at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show. Dunetz.
Hey girl, here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and all. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here, Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny, p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio on political and social issues.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Alleviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish speaking of this ad.
Ladies and gentlemen, work, and for the first time tonight, courtesy of Big Sarge, I want to say thank you to Big Sarge for having me on the Redcon 1 Media Network right here, right now, live. Also, we are speaking to Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com, and I thank for being here tonight. Like I said, Jeff Dunetz is here. Jeff, You're also going to be going to CPAC. I think CPAC starts Thursday, doesn't it?
I arrived this afternoon.
Okay. Are you?
I had an appointment.
Can I ask you about that?
Not ready to talk about it yet.
Okay. All right. I know. I see what you're doing there. It's competition. I get it.
No, it's not really. It's I have a friend there, and we talked about the issues facing Jews in the American political system.
Okay.
Something that I'm an expert in. So I clued him in.
Okay. We're before we do that, I want to first have everybody Mitch McConnell, because we're going to go to this story next. Democrats today in D.C. decided that they were going to vote against, and Mitch McConnell today had something to say. Mitch?
Just a few hours, the Senate will vote on advancing a straightforward piece of legislation to protect newborn babies. Legislation is simple, other circumstance. The baby is born alive.
Is Ben Sass speaking now?
This language is blunt. I recognize that, and blunt for many people in this body. But frankly, that is what we're talking about here today. Infanticide is what the Abortion Survivors Born Alive, Abortion Survivors Protection Act is actually about. Are we a country that protects babies that are alive, born outside the ocean? That is what this is about.
So basically, the Senate Democrats blocked a bill to born babies alive.
It's disgusting. There's no other. It made my skin crawl, because the baby is born alive. It's born alive, and you have to treat a baby that's born alive. I don't care if it was a messed up abortion or they dropped the kid. You know what I'm saying? It's still alive. I have a strange version of being pro-choice, because I think that the fetus should have it. They're not old enough to make a choice until like they're 18 years old. If you're really pro-choice, yeah.
Every Democrat 2020 presidential candidate or hope in it, they all voted down the measure. Bernie Sanders from Vermont, Kamala Harris, California, Cory Booker, New Jersey, Kristen Gillibrand, New York, Amy Klobuchar, Minnesota, Elizabeth Warren, Massachusetts. The final vote was 53 to 44 to end that. 7 that are needed. But this is the state of the art. This is where we are.
Right. And they believe it's protecting a woman's rights.
When that?
Well, I'll tell you something worse. When my daughter, Anagram, I think it was like 12 weeks, she was sucking her thumb just like she sucked her thumb right after she came out. As she grew older and older, 30 p.m., the same exact time that it was when she got it. She was doing the same thing inside and out, because she was totally different. She wasn't a human being when she was in there.
Right.
It's bullshit.
It's just a magic difference. It's just a magic difference.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But the bottom line is, it's in my mind, you hear a heartbeat. That's it.
That's life.
A living.
That's life.
You know what? And the sick thing is, here's the sick thing. If veterinarian killed puppies that were insular, he'd be thrown in jail.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Okay, so basically, we treat animals, treat humans.
And that's purposeful. Folks, that is purposeful. And it's purposeful on the part of the LDAM, leftist, American media maggots, because the leftist, your neck of the woods. This just broke. This just came out today. Cuomo and de Blasio, 10-point proposal for the MTA overhaul. The thing is, Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the setup, and this is why it's important, because I'm going somewhere with this. Bill and Governor Cuomo got together, and today they said that there's a proposal that they're going to transfer the MD. And they're going to create funding streams for the agency, joint endorsement of congestion pricing. I'm going to get to that. So it's a 10-point proposal, city and state leaders, and it's going to completely reorganize the agency. Any thoughts of that, Dennis?
Let me put it this way. Congestion pricing. You know what that means?
Oh,
rush hour.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So
what that
people
means.
are going to have to pay more. They work normal times.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's another tax.
That's exact. Yes, your cell phone is kind of dying out there.
Wait. 2 weeks ago.
There you go.
2 weeks ago, Cuomo was complaining he wasn't revenue.
Yes, he was. Yes, and he was blaming Florida.
Well, you know what? You go to Florida, you don't have to pay income tax.
Yeah. Here's
That's
an article.
a good thing.
Here's an article from the New York Times, and this is what you just talked about. The New York Times said driving a car in would cost $11.50 to Cuomo. That it's going to make New York City. Hey, this is a plus. What a plus! It's going to make New York the first city in the United States with a pay-to-drive plan, and isn't for New Yorkers great. But as you were saying, Cuomo, the governor, was saying that he was bitching and kvetching the dollars so far to federal tax law. Right. Well, actually, that's $2.3 billion from people that are also being driven out of New York City. Expensive to live there, and he's adding to that today. How damn stupid is that, Jeff Dunitz?
Well, I'll make it stupider, or more stupid, I guess, is in English.
Okay.
In northwestern, there's a giant range where they could do, they can get oil, okay, from taxes and for land grants and things like that. How much? My daughter, who says $7.2 billion.
Hey, but that's right, $7.2 billion. Then Cuomo ought to take a big cup of shut the fuck up, because he's the impetus behind all of these things. Oh, wait, wasn't it just the lovely Cuomo who was just blaming Democrats not long ago, OC, for killing in New York City?
And Amazon was guaranteeing that the average salary was going to be $150,000.
Oh, come on, that's crap. That's a crap job, right? Listen,
yeah.
That's not enough money. Oh, that's right. Wasn't it also de Blasio, in concert with Governor Cuomo, who made sure that the $15 an hour minimum wage for people that push the cheeseburger? Wow, some of those businesses have decided that they're going to go to kiosks. Person taking your order at the drive-thru, if New York allows you to have a drive-thru. Now it looks as though the person taking your information not be a real person anymore. This is working out so well for the Democrat. Got 10 more minutes before the top of the hour. Folks, we're talking to Jeff Dunitz of lidblog.com. Question for you, Jeff.
Seattle tried it and had to stop it.
Oh, yeah. Well, what happened is that a lot of the businesses moved to the city of Seattle, the incorporated area, and moved to the county which surrounds Seattle, Kings County, and business, by the way, in Kings County, for those of you who just tuned in, is booming. So is there, Jeff Dunitz?
And you're talking about Kings County, Washington.
Yes, Washington. Yes.
Kings County in New York is Brooklyn.
No, Kings County, Washington, because I was referring to Seattle. But right. Jeff Dunitz, the ultimate question about this, then, is because Cuomo and de Blasio are doubling down on end game for this, will there be continuing bitching and kvetching about, and there'll be breast beating and camshafts thrown, pants shitting hysteria all over because, oh my God, these businesses are heritage to relocate because they don't like our taxes.
There's only it. Throwing them out of office. Voting against them. But no one has the guts to say the right thing.
That's the next big question. Can it be done? Jeff Dunitz, you're up in that area. You live in the state of New York or city or both. Have the temerity to make a decision in terms of, this is not, just like leftists say, this is not sustainable.
I have never heard a candidate say that.
No, of course not. No, why would you?
You know, and Ed Koch used to say it.
Ed Koch, Red.
Hey, you know what? He honored me with, it said, go to hell.
That's a badge of courage, sir.
No, you know something? If you've never been told to go to hell by Ed Koch in politics.
Okay, I like that.
But the truth is that Republicans don't have the guts to be Republicans.
No, which is...
Yes. Crazy. I mean, Gillibrand was anti-illegal immigration and pro-gun. When she appointed Senator El Diario, had her headline, anti-immigrante. And now she doesn't want any borders.
No, of course not, because Donald Trump wants that. I honestly believe it is that simple. It's that simple.
I don't agree, though. Is that the liberals have the far liberals have taken over the party.
Well,
and that's why they are.
Yes, that's part of it. Yes,
they're pro-immigration, Israel. They're not crazy about Jews. They gun. You know, it's all because it's the extreme left wing. You know, if you remember, the Tea Party used to hurt the Republicans. You know, there's no compromise. Everyone had to be perfect. And the only perfect person I knew is my wife. And
okay.
Beyond that, I'm wrong with them.
No, that's true. The only person I would vote for who goes along with my taste would be me, and I'm not running for politics anytime soon. I got one left. We got about 5 more minutes left before the top of the hour.
Okay.
And this is in your wheelhouse, and this is from I think it's the ashivaworld.com. And the story is hate in Brooklyn. Swastikas found on Brighton Beach playground. You mentioned this earlier in the show when you first came on here. And the story goes like this. For the second time in 3 days, the NYPD is investigating swastikas found scrawled in places where, of course, children discovered sometime between Sunday night and Monday morning at Brighton Playground in the Brighton Beach section of Brooklyn, according to the NYPD. Any thoughts about that kind of stuff, Jeff Dunitz?
It's kind of hard when you have an entire party teaching people to hate one group. And I truly believe the Democratic Party is totally anti. And, I mean, you know, and I could go through, I mean, I have lists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that it stems from that. It stems from 8 years of Obama.
Well, it was...
He was telling people that it was the Jews who got us into Iraq. Which isn't true.
No, that's ridiculous.
Because all the Jewish mothers are going, no war, I'm not kidding.
But
you know, in the 60s, the ones who were complaining about the meeting in Hanoi, do you know why they're complaining?
Well, you can't have any out on his head. You cannot have him succeed at anything.
Oh, but it's more than complaining about it. They wanted to go to Canada. They heard they were going to Vietnam.
Oh, and that would have aided and abetted them as well. Of course, I get that.
You know, I have a great example of that too.
Okay.
Chuck Todd he said that Trump was going there for a photo op for a couple of days after the first meeting, right?
Right. It doesn't have anything to do with national security. Nah.
When Trump was calling him Rocket Man, and that same Chuck Todd had a little editorial on his Beat the Press. I'm afraid with the rhetoric, he's leading us down a path we won't be able to get at him. So first he's upset because,
right,
and now he's upset because he thinks Trump might be making peace.
Well, going back to the overarching, the umbrella topic of it all, which I believe is the major reason that this is the raison d'être. Thank you. For all the LDAM, leftist Democrats and the American media maggots, is we cannot afford to have President Trump succeed in any way at anything get him impeached. We're going to get him impeached.
Well, you know what? First of all, they might get him impeached, but they'll never be in office because you need 60 votes in the House.
Yes.
I mean in the Senate. A lot of these issues is strictly for the 2020 election.
A ton of this is posturing for exactly that. Folks, we've been listening to Jeff Dunitz of lidblog.com. Other than lidblog.com, can you tell folks where you can be found and read and or social media type stuff?
Yid with Lid is my Twitter handle. I'm on it starting next week every Wednesday. I'm on 2 days this week. Thursday and Friday from 1 to 3 from CPAC. And if you go to the Jewish Star, which is a weekly newspaper, I have a column in it every week.
Okay, great. I'll tell you what, Julie, you got to come back because I want to hear your observations about what it is that you discovered and found you might be making about CPAC and the election stuff come next year, 2020. Can you come back on the radio once you've been to CPAC, sir?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. I would love to have
I can only my predictions.
Right,
for
gotcha.
For the campaign.
Go ahead.
Pain.
Pain?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pain.
All right. Major pain.
Yeah, I think so.
Not corporal pain.
Well, I don't give ranks.
Okay, good. All right.
I think that it's going to be very painful whether the good guys succeed or not.
All right. With luck, then, I might be able to have you back next week. Folks, we're talking to Jeff Dunitz. We're going to go to a break and then be right back. Thank you ever so kind, Jeff Dunitz, for being here tonight. And
thank you. I enjoy doing radio with you.
Thank you, sir. And introducing people at Redcon One Media to Jeff Dunitz. We're going to take a break.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way, which Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment.
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated long rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, fact, radio show featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, Lid himself, Jeff. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, to your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
In their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic, concealed carry, and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance, movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet.
p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner, and catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
I am officially running for president.
Occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the S-Work. Go to shrmedia.com. You're listening to
the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live and direct from the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Studios, where I am broadcasting behind California. 2 miles from the veritable locus of evil, Capitol Building in Sacramento, California, at 10th and L Street, where common sense dies daily. So thanks for listening. And again, I have to say, thank you very, very much to Sarge from Redcon 1 Media, who has allowed me to be on his channel. It's kind of short notice, and I hope I pick up a lot of folks here. It's an acquired, because a lot of people don't stay up quite so late anymore. A lot of folks have to go to work. Maybe I should tell you a little bit about me. I don't go to work anymore. And the reason is that I worked 41 years and worked for $1. Plus, I think I had about a 35-cent an hour that you would get when you month's graveyards. And it was a constantly rotating circular bit of buttery hell just for you. Well, I left that coastal to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, where I worked there for 35 years and retired at the age of I retired there after 35 years. I worked in Detroit. I worked almost every place you could possibly work in detectives in the Sheriff's Department. With 2 exceptions, I wasn't big into dope. I never worked narcs, and I wasn't into property crimes per se, so I stayed the hell out of burglary because at least, I want to load property around and carry a ton of junk in my trunk. All because burglary being a property crime primarily committed by kids, you'd put them in the passenger, drive them down a bunch of streets, and then ask them, and this is how the hell you cleared cases. You'd take the passenger seat, and you'd tell them, okay, tell me which, I hit that house, yeah, and I hit that house, yeah, and I hit that house, yeah. How about that one? Yeah, I hit that one. And then you end up with 2.35 metric tons of property that you have to try to emulate, sort, log, label, and then try to get back to the proper owner. I was also a supervisor. I was a supervisor in communications. I was a supervisor in patrol. I was in the jails, and I was the department range master. So it's EVOC, which is the law enforcement, and essentially that's how I got to be here. Again, thanks to Big Sarge of Redcon 1, in the 1970s in terrestrial radio. I worked for a ton of radio stations. Back then, talk radio was not the big thing. It was all, well, for me, it was rock radio. And I worked for places back east, WING, WWVUD, but that was the University of Dayton, and I was not there, so shh, don't tell anybody. BO, amongst others, KNDE, blah, 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 blah. And I also worked for KFBK, which is the 50-watt flamethrower. I was there before Morton Downey or Rush Limbaugh cut his chops in Sacramento. And yes, I do know where Rio Linda is. Background, you'll get used to my various conventions and how I term things. I like to do, as I indicated at the beginning of the first hour, I like to do happy stories, because happy stories out there that people don't hear about. But I also like to laugh every once in a while, and I like to point my fingers at the stupid fucking leftists. You find something that you really like, and you've identified it. You could drink that stuff.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
Could he actually win?
No freaking way!
Which Republican has the best chance of winning the general election?
Donald Trump.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
Trump will not be president.
Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
Be president of the United States.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States.
He will never be president.
Donald Trump is not going to become president.
She's at plus 19. Do you think the tapes made a difference? Of course, it made all the difference.
This race is over.
Hillary Clinton
Thanks,
has
Bob.
raised more than him.
The presidency at about 89% for Hillary Clinton.
Your analytical model never been wrong. Now projects Hillary Clinton to win presidential election.
100% chance. You still?
I do.
And what would Donald Trump have to do to turn things around?
Prayer and hope for a Festivus miracle.
This is CNN's coverage of election night in America. CNN. Fight for the presidency.
Okay, have Kentucky. Who cares?
Kentucky.
Don't care about Indiana. Don't care.
Indiana, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas, Nebraska, and Wyoming with its vote, North Dakota and South Dakota, Texas,
Up and down the...
Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri.
Yes, it was at 80% for Clinton.
What is it now?
68%.
Okay, God damn it, I'm nervous. Hold. Ohio, gone.
Idaho.
Okay, yeah, I don't see a fucking lance. I don't see it at all.
North Carolina.
God damn it, if we need Florida, are you shit?
Florida.
It is fucking panic time.
Georgia.
Donald Trump now the favorite to win the presidency.
Iowa.
New York Times now has it at 95% chance.
Utah.
Can still win, but in order to do so, she has to
Wisconsin.
God damn it. Fuck
Arizona.
Alaska.
Pennsylvania.
Michigan.
What a night! How did this
happen? I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. And there's another bit that I've played before, and as far as I'm concerned, this never gets old. You can hear that stick in your brain, and you'll know them again when you hear them, and you want to hear them. You don't necessarily know where to go to get them. This heard it. The first thing I thought was, it's extremely effective, and the thing that I read about this is this took a lot of work, and it's extremely clever. The whole thing is just a wonderful, incredibly facile job.
Good morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. Do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 152 emails.
What difference at this point does it make? Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, no regulations.
Secretary Clinton should have been on any kind of classified system, not even Gmail.
But first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary.
Nothing was marked classified.
There is evidence
Nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my God.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
2 email chains.
It was a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What this point does it make?
8 of those chains, although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference
at this point? 8 of those chains were top
was not a good choice.
36 of those chains.
I said it was a mistake.
And 8 contained confidential information.
What difference? difference at this point does it make?
And what difference at that point does it make? I'm sorry. Well, here's also another piece. For the rest of the show, I'm going to be giving you an orientation as to, you may be wondering, who I am, where I came from. I give you a bit of that. What are my thoughts and philosophies? We'll get into that over time. For the show, some stories and some articles to you that give a good overall view, I believe, of what you can probably count on hearing.
You notice that Trump is the only candidate we've ever heard that used the first-person plural pronoun our. It sounds almost corny, our soldiers, our vets. You think Romney would ever say that, or even McCain? I don't think. Then he uses this weird word, beautiful. We're going to have such beautiful steel, our beautiful coal plants, and it's a nationalist idea, but it brings people together. And I think.
By the way, this is Victor Davis Hanson, a brilliant, brilliant guy. You got to read his stuff. Victor Davis Hanson. He's a doctor at Fresno State. The poor bastard at Fresno State, but a genius.
That's one of the reasons the hatred of him is that if he were to be successful in creating sort of a working class nationalistic movement, that would transcend racial categories.
Yes.
I live in a community that's 90%.
But that's what I say.
And I think part of it is.
Did you know, have you noticed, as Victor Davis out right there, quite aptly, in the prior 8 years, you heard, and by the way, I'm proud of one thing. In my blog, I have a blog at blowzeppelin.net where you can read me. And I'm on Twitter at bzep, at BEP, very simple. But I'm proud of the fact that during the past of Obama, I never once in writing put two words together. President, I don't respect the man. I respected the office, and that was it. It didn't have any. It had everything to do with his policies and his disruptive, in my obsessed nature, and the racist nature of those he appointed, to include Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch. Both of those placements were purposeful as well. This is a very interesting thing to you, because I appreciate this guy. This is Stephen Miller, and he had that boy up. The apple seldom falls far from the tree. I'm sure you know of Mike Wallace from CBS, and he has a son named Chris Wallace, and Stephen Miller are having a little chat on Fox News Sunday.
If they pass a resolution of disapproval, will the president veto that, which veto of his presidency?
Well, obviously, the president is going to protect his national emergency declaration, Chris. And I know that we're out of time, but again, I want to make this point. There's no threat.
So, yes, he will veto?
He's going to protect his national emergency declaration, guaranteed. But the fact that they're even talking about a resolution of disapproval shows you this is a statutory issue and a statutory delegation that Congress made.
Yes.
But again, I want to make this point. This is a deep intellectual problem that is plaguing year after year after year because of threats crossing our southern border. We have families and communities that are left terrorist organizations.
Correct.
This is a threat in our country,
yes.
Not overseas, not in Belarus, not in Zimbabwe, not in Afghanistan or Syria, or right here. And if the president can't defend this country, then he cannot fulfill his constitution.
Absolutely agreed. By the way, that's where I am. Now, when I have Professor Michael Jones here on Thursday, at this point he has a con law, and I don't think he teaches it currently. But once you get a load of this guy, you will begin to understand you will be able to see that his understanding about the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the foundational doc. I'm going to ask him, as I indicated, this coming Thursday, what he thinks about the and the constitutional ability to do that. And I believe Jones is going to give me a pretty definitive answer about that. I've gone into the background a little bit. As I indicated the first hour in the beginning, I customarily like to do happy stories. That is to say, things that are not, that you don't customarily see or hear in the media. because there's a lot of good stuff going on. The American media maggots, in my opinion, purposefully hold this stuff from you. You get to hear some of this stuff, you'll have a better understanding, I believe, of where it is that I'm coming from. But this is a feature that you'll hear most in a standard fashion in BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And so what I do is...
Time for happy stories and good times.
Here's a happy story. We'll start this from the Detroit News. Fiat Chrysler is going to invest, $4.5 billion in 5 Michigan plants, 6,500 jobs, 6,500 jobs. What? Wait, no. What? A previously idled engine plant in the city, in Detroit, as part of the Auburn Hills-based automaker's plans to invest $4.5 Michigan's plants. The plant actions would create about 6,500 new jobs in Metro Detroit, would help Chrysler in North America, and would pave the way for future production of electric... this is what's coming in Jeeps. Well, it appears that there are going to be electrified Jeep SUVs in your future. The automaker's plans come as crossing to idle in January. It's Detroit Hamtramck assembly plant. I consider that to be a good story, a happy story. What about this? Didn't hear about this, I bet. This is from the Gateway Pundit. Surprise. Woman who attacked Massachusetts man over a mega hat turns out to be an alien and gets arrested by ICE today. Roslane, 41-year-old Brazilian woman, charged for attacking a man at Falmouth, Massachusetts, at a restaurant there earlier this month because he was wearing a pro-Trump red Make America Great Again hat, was arrested by ICE Tuesday morning for overstaying a 1994 tourist visa. Action, consequence. A Falmouth man a week ago Friday at a Mexican restaurant over his red Make America Great Again hat is in the country illegally and was arrested Tuesday morning by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I didn't hear about it. I love this one. This is from yellowhammer.com, and I love the way this is written. I specifically love the headline, which is this. 11-year-old Alabamian shoots home intruder crying like a little baby. Talladega, Alabama, a Navy SEAL saying, made famous in the recent Lone Survivor film, goes something like this. Never shoot a... Well, it only took a 9mm round to the leg to reduce one would-be burglar to tears, according to the 11-year-old Alabama boy who pulled the trigger. Chris Gaither was home noise and realized a man was breaking into his house. When he was coming down the stairs, that's when he told me he was going to kill me. He said, F you, and all that, Gaither recalls. The young boy grabbed a 9mm handgun and told him I was going to kill him and all that if he didn't get out of my house. The intruder apparently didn't take him very seriously because he was making for the door with a basket full of goods. And that's when Gaither started firing on the... This is why I love this shit. Okay. On the 12th and final in agony after catching a bullet in the leg. Well, apparently it is not all that accurate, but he knows what to do with a full magazine. It was a full bullet, and it went straight through the leg and hit him in his leg, Gaither said proudly. And he started crying. When I pulled the gun out on him, I guess he didn't think it was real because he didn't worry about it, and he just kept on walking until the 11-year-old shot him and then called him a baby. This, in California, this is definitely a happy story, and I contribute to these people. I have a couple of dollars to rattle around here, and I put my money where my mouth is. I don't customarily talk about this very much. One of the places that I contribute to, let there be no mistake, the big charities I could give a crap less about. As a matter of fact, I wholly advocate and suggest that you kick Red Cross to the curb. They're a massively leftist organization. Contribute to the Red Cross. The same for the United Way. Kick them to the curb. The money that you spend for example, these two large organizations goes to administrate cats to drive their cars, and that's essentially what they do. California and Los Angeles County to remove 1.5 inactive voters from voter rolls, and that was to settle a Judicial Watch federal law that it signed a settlement agreement with the state of California and County of Los Angeles, under which they will begin the process of removing from their voter registration rolls as many as 1.5 million registered names that may be invalid. These removals are requested by the National Voter Registration Act, and they're mandated by the NVRA to sue to get voter registrations properly in the state of California. Now, let me ask a couple of questions before we go to the break. Of those persons, how many do you suspect were illegal? Now, Los Angeles, of course, is just one county. Granted, it's a large county in the state of California, but there are 58 counties in the state of California. Now, do Los Angeles on a smaller scale through the rest of the 57 counties and the 400 plus cities that are in the state of California. Now multiply those potential invalid ballots and people that are voting illegally. Now do what I call the logical extension. 50 states, I'm sorry, if you're Barack Obama, I think there are 58 states, 57 states. But for the rest of the 56 states, now do extension. How many dead people, wrong people, invalid people, or illegal people are on the voter rolls? And I think you'll have a pretty good idea about how the popular vote in 24 Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday, Thursday, from 7 to 9 a.m., right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things, tics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday.
Walker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes the show designed liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York. The Lid himself. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in not a boys club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, women. Dope tees and hat.
Row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. Or to miss it.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Loud through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues. Weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy and Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's no ever. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Eastern Only on the SH Media, done right. You're listening to the SA Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the final 25 minutes of the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR, the sumptuous and palatial SHR studios, where I'm broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, miles east of the Bill Mill, the locus of evil on the entire left Capitol building at 10th and L. And thanks for the Alaskan being in chat, Dave Milner, and I'm guessing a whole bunch of people that are over on the Redcon 1 media site that to figure out how I'm going to monitor all the chat rooms that I'm in. We're doing happy stories, and happy stories are one of the things that I like to do on this show, because there's a lot of stuff and happy, like little kids, like 11-year-olds shooting burglars in the leg and then telling them to man up and stop bawling like a baby, a little sissy. I love that kind of stuff. Lots of happy stories, but some of these things can tug at your heart. Here's one from WGNTV.com. Veteran steps in and takes daughter of deceased Marine daughter dance. This is not for, of all things, for not having a dad. But when the time came for the father-daughter dance, she didn't have to go alone. A family friend, Steve Exene, wanted to make the dance something extra special. So he Chloe to go to the dance with him. The sweet moment caught on camera has since gone viral. Said they had a blast, and now it's got there. But the story is this, and yeah, the schadenfreude in BZ coming through. It's a term that I frequently use. Get to your favorite engine and look up schadenfreude, because my show and I specifically operate on an assload of schadenfreude. SCHADENFREUDE, schadenfreude. In summary, it works something like this. Being happy as fuck when the dead bodies of your enemies, you're sitting on the bank and you're watching the dead bodies of your enemies float by. That's a bit of schadenfreude. And it goes like this from Washington Examiner. The trust in the media hits bottom. 60% say sources pay for stories. Really? Well, I think you said this was true. Confidence in the media has hit rock bottom with many news consumers before knowing the facts. And wouldn't you say that's true? I would. That sources pay for the stories, according to a depressing, now this is written by a journalistic source, by a depressing new survey of American journalism. The Columbia, Journalism Review poll has confirmed the pending death of print newspaper and a remarkable shift to social and online media as sources of news. However, the survey, which was done in partnership with Reuters, interviewed 4,214 adults and is last on a list of all the Washingtons in, even under Congress. Did not write up a report or analysis beyond an introduction on the trust gap. Don't trust the press. What we haven't known is how people view the makings of journalism, from the use of fact checkers and anonymous sources to the question of whether money skews journalistic decision-making, and points to how big the trust gap remains. To which I would respond as I responded to, say, Cuomo and de Blasio in New York City. Respectfully, you don't see and you don't is because of yourselves. You have brought yourselves there. Now, I'm speaking specific American media maggots. You have no trust because you do not deserve trust. All you, the American media maggots, because guess what? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was you. When I was in radio, I wasn't just working for the McClatchy organization at 21st and Q. I was the guy that was going out and collecting the news stories. I also was a stringer, the Sacramento Bee, which now is nothing more than a massively leftist organ for a massively leftist state. At one point, it may have had some journalistic fit size, and about 95% leftist. They have completely, the American media maggots, sorry, I must be specific. The American media maggots have now gotten to the point where I don't believe they have they can grok the concept of knowing the difference between an actual fucking news story and news opinion, especially in the Sacramento Bee, which may be very much like your own, where you'll find editorial content in what originally was being displayed as a news story. They don't understand and continue to, and I submit again, Just BZ interjecting a bit on his platform. Racist Jorge Ramos exists. Now, Jorge Ramos is unique insofar as he's called a journalist, but his job is to simply advocate for and Hispanics and the nation of Mexico. That's his job. Journalism, and I use that if you're watching live, journalism was... He's the guy. I don't know what Reconquista is or Mecha, M-E-C-H-A. Again, go to your favorite search engine and discover that Pain Nemesis was detained in Venezuela. Now, if I had a producer, what you would have heard is something like this: was detained in Venezuela. But I producer, and that's not what you heard. The Univision anchorman who frequently crossed President Trump during the 2016 presidential campaign was briefly loving people in I bet I could. I certainly hope I can. The network posted to Twitter on Monday evening that Jorge Ramos and the rest of his team are being arbitrarily detained at the Miraflores Palace in Caracas. Damn. That's sad. Here's another happy story. I may end up doing the rest of the show tabs of stories that I want to bring. And 2 hours ends up frequently just not enough time. But that's why God created more radio shows for come back. Because I will be here every Tuesday and Thursday night now on Redcon 1 on their Facebook page, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Back to Happy Stories. This is wonderful. ISIS wife, remember her, from Alabama, will not be admitted to the U.S., Pompeo says. State Mike Pompeo said last Wednesday, that an Alabama ISIS, but now magically, mystically wants to come home with the 18-month-old son that she had with her ISIS husband, will not be admitted back to the United States, saying that she's not a U.S. citizen. Imagine that. Ms. Hoda Muthana is not and will not be admitted into the United States, Pompeo said in a statement. She does not have any legal basis, no valid U.S. passport, no right to a passport, nor any visa to the United States. We continue to strongly advise all U.S. citizens not to Syria. What portion states? For Sackhead Sean, I wouldn't have half the crap I have in the studio right now. Thanks to Sean. But there's a picture of a five, I guess you would get $1. And the story is this from Canada. I saw this, I burst out laughing because I saw the picture. The Bank of Canada is warning people to stop drawing Spock on their money. Now, I could have done this earlier. I think I might be able to do this for you. It really is get a picture of this. Here is a picture of the $5 Canadian bill, and I'm going to show it to you guys. They are pissed because apparently way too many Canadians are doing Spock on their money. And so let's see if I can show this to you. If you're looking at the video, their money, and apparently the Bank of Canada hates that. I think that's funny as hell. Canadians are paying a strange sort of tribute to the late Leonard Nimoy. They're drawing his most famous character, Spock from Star Trek, over a 19th century politician on their banknotes. Nimoy died and he got a variety of tributes, not least from President Barack Obama, but few are weirder than the drawings. It has become now known in Canada as Spocking. It looks as if the fad goes back further. Apparently, Canadians have been turning Sir Wilfrid Laurier, the country's French-speaking prime minister, into a Vulcan for years. That's wonderful. This is a happy story, but it's also a story with some potential. SNews.com. Let's see, what do I got? About 8 more minutes before the end of the show. Okay, I can do this. I still got some more stories. Oh, I've got so many more stories. Senator Corey, this is what passes for a great damn idea on the part of leftists, and they'll against this shit. And I want to let you know specifically what it is that leftists are thinking and how they're moving so that you can combat this against this kind of stuff in your own local areas. Senator Cory Booker plans for again, no concept of consequences. No consequences, conceptions at all. That really is a great drawing. It is. It's a very accurate drawing of Spock. Senator Cory Booker plans for government to give $46,000, specifically $40 to all 18-year-olds in the lowest income bracket. Stop. Okay, let's an 18-year-old in a low-income bracket, and you receive a check for $46,215. In the span of a week, answer this question: how many fewer 18-year-olds are going to be on this planet than before these checks were issued? He's saying, I know. Yeah, many fewer. Some are going to go buy a car and crash it. Some are going to get dope and their noses, or in their arms, or they're going to drink it, or it'll go to more drugs or guns. Yes, because everyone knows in the curly-cued little fetid recesses of every 18-year-old brain, there's this very important spot that knows exactly what to do and how to invest $115. And if you believe that, I have a planet named Pluto that I'd like to sell you. Senator Cory Booker, Democrat, New Jersey, is proposing a plan, the American Opportunity Accounts Act, that he calculates will provide $46,215 to every 18-year-old in the low bracket by giving them annual has condensed on this. This is from NBC News, and I find this to be very happy. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein likely to step down in 3 weeks. My guess would be maybe a week or so. 2 weeks ago that this story came out. Rod Rosenstein, who had been overseeing Robert Mueller's investigation, said in January, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, in my opinion, is responsible for probably, this might be conservative, 90% of bullshit at the Department of Justice these days. So as far as I'm concerned, though, that is a very, very, very happy story. I've got so many other stories right now. Oh, I want. Okay, I'm going to wrap with this story. And it's a story like this that makes you wonder, in terms of consequences, leftists don't see this. Conservatives, people who think brains are wired properly, see and understand what regular people, normals, militant normals, to use Kurt Schlichter's term, unintended, unforeseen consequences. So we could see consequences of something like this. Apparently leftists, Democrats, and the American media, maggots, could not see the consequences of this. Listening to the show, I have locked after man who and the sub women's restroom. According to the Courier, the suspect, who goes by the name Katie Howsky, sexually assaulted the unidentified girl in a supermarket room on March 4th, 2018, reportedly grabbing the, quote, terrified face, shoving her into the cubicle, and ordering her to remove her trousers. From the report, the girl had been sledding when the assault occurred on March 4th last year, a month after Dolatowski had toilet in another supermarket in Dunfermline. When she came out of her cubicle, Dolatowski shoved her back in and told her there was a man outside who would kill her mother. The brave however punched Dolatowski, sent to jail. That the public will be better protected. Folks, this is where not only where we're going right now, and as a Western civilization, this is where we are right now.
Monsieur has unlocked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I got to say thanks for listening to the SHR Media Network, and also now, thanks to Big Sarge on the Redcon 1 Media. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, B-Z-E-P, on my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. And thanks to Redcon 1 Media, like I said. For consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And of course, Pratt & Whitney engines, thrust you can trust. And perhaps every once in a while by the Oahu Snack Bar. Just a tiny little bit of tiaras are by My Little Pony. And of course, I have to say thanks to C-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than an hour. Thank you ever so kindly for listening live. Thanks to Jeff Dunitz, you for being in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy day or night to do so. God bless, take care, be safe. Come back.
Night, Mama. Night, Ben.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night, and good luck.